Welcome to episode 20 of the Gingerspyce Tiefling Druid. In this episode, I'm going to be doing Bargain of Blood in Searing Heights, and I am level 20. Take a look at where things are. On the gear side, nothing has changed as far as what I'm wearing. There will be some gearing changes starting next level. Some craftables that I crafted for 21 just because of the power level, the way the power levels tier with different levels. It made more sense for me to wait to 21 to do some things, but I'll just quickly go over. I got the torque on the neck, Pansophic Circlet, Concordant Opposition Heroic Green Steel on the goggles, Scales of Exile, Heroic Green Steel Mineral 2 Racers, crafted Constitution False Life Ring, crafted Dex Sheltering Boots, big 25% lesser displacement mischance on the gloves, Scald Ring for the big necromancy focus, big stacking glaciation and magnetism on the thrumming spark cord, wisdom 8 and big intimidate on the crafted cloak, and resistance, healing amplification, and some spell saves on the crafted shard. Giant's Platter, nice defensive large shield out of Madness of Crowds. And the Wild Flame, again going with the Wild Flame over the Wild Frost because I wanted that evocation focus +3 on it as opposed to the Conjuration, which the Wild Frost has on it. There are some other accessories that I wanted to mention for level 20. The first is the Epic Twisted Talisman. This comes out of the Red Fens pack. This is an old school epic item where you had to gather the shard, the seal, and the scroll on the base item, put those together in the epic crafting device in the 12, and gives you the Epic Twisted Talisman. This is exactly the same as the regular level 7 Heroic Twisted Talisman, except it has 5 charges on it. Also have the Epic Ring of Spell Storing, perhaps one of the rarest items in the game. This is an extremely rare drop. It's actually the shard that's the rare part. The seal is not a bad farm, and the base item is not too bad of a farm. And the scroll can be traded for at Lahar, but the shard is an extremely rare drop, and it can drop in both against the Demon Queen pre-raid end chest and the Demon Queen raid chest. But that has 3 charges of Major Mnemonic Aid, so really nice spell pool extender for a caster. I hate to think how many thousands of shards that I spent re-rolling those the chest at the end of against the Demon Queen, but in any event, really nice item to have. And then the Epic Fjarlin Miracloak, also another old school epic item where you had to get the shard, the seal, the scroll, and the base item. And this is another item that provides spell absorption. It has 5 charges, so in that sense, and that's the only reason I use it for, is 5 charges of spell absorption, so it's kind of like another Mantle of the World Shaper in that sense. It does have some interesting stats on it though. So for level 20, this is a perfectly wearable cloak. I mean, it's got blurry, in addition to the spell absorption. It's got a slot, it's got spell resistance 30. That's not bad for level 20. And then it's got some hide and move silently on there. So it's definitely an item you could wear, but I just wanted to have that for some additional spell absorption if my other sources of spell absorption ran out. Spell absorption is just so important in Reaper mode now. So I like to have every source that I can. Okay, enhancements. So what changed since last time? I did get rid of the Hellish Rebuke. I just, don't really feel like it's worth it. Even if it's just 1 action point, it just didn't seem like it was worth it, so I got rid of that. I also got rid of 1 in Scroll Mastery now that I'm in Epics. I think everything else is the same here, except I did pick up a couple points of Charisma and some additional Fire Spell Power in the innate line for Tiefling. I also spent some points over here getting the Spell Power action boost. It's a +30 action boost to Universal Spell Power for 20 seconds. So like when I'm doing Reaper, I can hit both that and the Reaper's Power boost, and that gives me a total of 75 extra spell power temporarily. And like I said, and I also pick up the Capstone, which gives me +2 to Wisdom and Constitution. Transmutation and Evocation spells get +1 to their DCs, and +1 bonus caster level and max caster level in both seasons. Like I said, I am going to try to unlock the falconry tree, and I want to work up to those big stacking hit points. Hopefully I can get that done before the series is over and I can talk about that. So I'll pull things away, like I'll probably get rid of the action boost here. I'll pull this point away, and I'll probably dump this innate stuff as well. We'll see when we get there what we have to sacrifice to get it. Nothing to mention on the feat side. On the spell side, I did pick up Ice Flowers. This is a spell that some Druid casters really like to use. I never really got that into it. I probably should play with it more. It's kind of an oddball in that it's a transmutation spell, and Druids don't really have a lot of offensive transmutation spells. In fact, the only other two, I believe, that we have are both low B spells, and so the Entangle at level 1, which I don't even use anymore, is transmutation. And then there's a level 3 spell called Spike Growth, which is another spell that, you know, some Druid casters have told me they like to use. I never really got into it, but it just throws down like a big briar patch, and mobs take damage as they run through it. So that's, you know, you could play around with it. Like I said before, you know, the spells that I use, you know, it doesn't mean that's the spells you have to use. You know, experiment, see what you like. There are other spells out there that I just never really got into, and you know, like I mentioned in a couple of other recent episodes, like Call Lightning Storm, and then the ranged version of Fire Seeds. I just never got into them, but I know other people like them a lot, so you know, play with them, and I just, you know, for me, mostly I stick to my, you know, AoEs and my own little personal hurricane. I fight in the middle of that, and then the SLAs as well. But one of the interesting things about Ice Flowers is that it just has a 2-second cooldown, so you can actually spam that. It also does both piercing and cold damage, so, you know, piercing is an untyped damage type, so it can hit pretty much, well, yeah, it hits, you know, most things, so it's, with a 2-second cooldown, it certainly is an interesting spell. But the Transmutation School is kind of an odd one out for Druids. At least at this level. And then for my last level 9, I picked up Anger of the Noonday Sun. Like I said, it's all, practically meaningless to even memorize these, but you only have, you know, you get to memorize every 9th level spell, because that's all there is. You have slots for all of them, so. But because when you switch forms now, as of update 38, when you switch forms, as long as you have the enhancement, Elemental Mastery, it automatically applies Mantle and Anger when you switch elemental forms. Okay. I don't think there's anything else to mention on the spells. Reaper Trees, there's nothing new to mention at level 20. As far as the quests that I've done, I've really just been doing some high-level heroic stuff. I finished, you know, there's so much XP now with the addition of Sharn at level 15 and 16 that I'm finding that, you know, I skipped all of the Veil, for example, at level 16. I would normally never do that. I usually do a few out there, but it's just, I was capped out on XP. So once I hit level 20, I kind of went back and did some of those higher-level heroics just to, you know, I knew I could get some experience out of them. I could only do them on Elite at level 20 because an Epic Tune can't do Heroic Reaper quests. But so I did all of the Veil, and I finished our Tower of Despair flaggers out in Amrath because I wanted to have the Yugoloth favor to get Yugo pots. That's these things. The Stacking Wisdom and Constitution potions. And also did House C quests. Those are level 19, again, just on Elite. Because I wanted to get flagged for House C raids. Since I'm going to 30 and staying at 30, I want to get flagged for all the raids. And I think that's all I did. And you can see that I'm with those heroic quests, I got over halfway through level 20. Actually, I haven't done any. I don't think I've done any epic questing yet. So this will be the first one. We can talk about epic destinies now. Unyielding Sentinel is the destiny that I like to run in because I am a tanky toon. This is not a DPS destiny, this is a tank destiny. So just to be clear, if you were a more traditional Druid caster, you would probably want to play in destinies like possibly Divine Crusader, possibly Exalted Angel. This is a popular one because of the +3 DC to all your spells in the innate line, and people like the wings, and there's some other goodies in here too, positive spell power and stuff. Another one that people like, definitely not as popular, but you know, a more I don't want to say thematically appropriate, but a more natural choice would be like Primal Avatar or Shirati Champion, because you know, this does improve your caster level for your spells, because this, you know, this is part of the primal sphere. Over here, this is like I'm struggling for the term that's best for it, but you know, that's like where druids sort of should naturally be, sort of the destinies that were sort of created for them. But you know, if you've been playing this game for a while, you know that you know the destinies that were thematically designed for certain classes don't always end up being the best ones. So in any event, there are some, you know, Shirati Champion is definitely a potential choice for a caster druid. You'd want to go with the double rainbow line, and you get a little bit of DR that's kind of irrelevant really in Reapers, but some spell power there. Nerve Venom is definitely a must if you're going to be here, because it has a chance to paralyze any targets of your spells. And then the Audience of the Queen, the epic moment, is you know, if you have a decent charisma, you can get some interesting temporary buffs out of there. Primal Avatar, there's also some interesting things going on here. You got Rejuvenation Cocoon, which I actually have it twisted right now. You get Tsunami. They're actually doing a pass of this destiny very soon, so some of these things are going to get improved. The Spirit Boon is interesting, and Chill of Winter is kind of cool. You can actually pick up Evasion if you were dual wielding, so if you're a more traditional caster and you had you know, you were dual wielding like scepters or something, for example, you can get Evasion here. Where is it? Oh, here we go. Gain +1 critical damage multiplier or evasion while in animal form, unarmed, or 2-weapon fighting. So that 2-weapon fighting is like I said, if you're dual wielding weapons, that wouldn't work for me because I'm sword and board, weapon and shield. But if you were a more traditional caster, that could potentially be a source of evasion for you. So, and then you got Wisdom line on the side, which is great for your DCs of both Shirati Champion and Primal Avatar. But like I said, I like to play an Unyielding Sentinel. It's a very tanky destiny, and this is, you know, not a traditional caster. This is, you know, I'm straddling the line between tank and caster. And so I'm not going to be the greatest tank of all tanks, and I'm not going to be the greatest caster of all casters. I'm somewhere in the middle, and that's, you know, one of the things that makes this kind of a niche build. But it does fit my playstyle. It's how I like to play. So lots of cool things in this tree. I like to run in Stand Against the Tide stance, which makes me immune to knockdown effects. Once you have it fully maxed out with Steadfast here, it says you cannot be knocked down while standing against the tide. Unfortunately, and it's one of my gripes in the game, it doesn't truly make you immune to all forms of knockdown. There are still lots of things that can still knock you down, like certain dragon attacks, webline trip, cyclonic blast, giant pounces, and things like that. So that's frustrating. Especially the new raid 2 have to handle the boss's main attack, or one of the boss's attacks can still knock me down even when I'm standing against the tide. Very irritating. You know, it's really important for a tank to be able to stand on their feet. You know, the tank's job is to stay alive, you know, no matter what kind of thing, you know, and then take the damage so that other people don't have to, and then the healer can focus their heals on the tank. But you know, when you're getting knocked down, you know, you can't intimidate, you can't heal yourself, you can't do anything when you're lying on the ground. So it's kind of a bummer when that happens, especially when it's a raid boss knocking you down. Got some extra constitution here on the side. Shield prowess gives me additional AC bonus from my shield. Also legendary shield mastery. To fully max this out, you have to have both shield mastery and improved shield mastery, and then this gives me an additional 15 PRR on top of what the shield and improved shield mastery give me. This is commanding presence, gives you some extra hate that is generated from basically all attacks, but obviously I'm most interested in the spell attacks. So I generate extra hate, which is really nice. That helps me hold aggro, and this is going to get an improvement soon. They're going to be redoing some things in this Destiny as well. Renewal is a really nice low-cost maintenance healing. Don't overlook this one. It's really easy to overlook this if you're new, because it says 1d2 healing, and you might be thinking, oh, that's, or per character level, you might be thinking, oh, that's stupid, but it actually provides a meaningful amount of healing. So. Especially when you're doing it on others. In Reaper mode, it's definitely significantly reduced, but it's still, on others, it still works fully and is a great source of cheap maintenance healing on others, and I do cast it on myself as well. A big bonus to AC here with Hardened, and a big bonus, 20% insight bonus to maximum hit points here, big stacking hit points. So. Lots of cool tanky things in this tree. That's the Destiny I choose to run in. I have Energy Burst Cold twisted in from Draconic Incarnation. That's a pretty expensive twist at tier 4, but you know, I do have enough fate points to do that. I also have Evocation Specialist twisted in from Magister. That's +3 to my Evocation DCs. Again, that's Earthquake. And Precise Evocation from Draconic Incarnation. That's another +2 to my DCs of Evocation spells, Earthquake. So that's +5 to my Earthquake DC just with those 2 twists. And like I mentioned before, I picked up Spell Focus Evocation at level 18 because Spell Focus Evocation is a prerequisite to get both the Evocation Specialist and Magister and the Precise Evocation from Draconic. And then my last twist is Rejuvenation Cocoon out of Primal Avatar, and that's just another low-cost source of maintenance healing. Rejuvenation Cocoon is one of the most popular twists in the game. Non-healing types especially like this because it provides a source of self-healing. Alright, let's do the quest. Let's try Reaper 3. Like I said, this is my first epic quest of this life, so if I remember correctly, it's kind of slow going on R3, so we're just going to see how it goes. The boss beatdown especially is pretty slow. I still have Finger of Death, so maybe we can see if that's still working. If I remember correctly, it can still be usable in Lobby Epics. Let's see what happens. I'm going to switch it to fire and then back into cold to make sure my mantle is applied, because that's going to let me apply the cold debuff, which is going to make my fingers hit better. Let's try finger in this guy. No, he saved. So we're going to stun him with the Salt Ray, and then we're going to hit him with the SLAs. And then we're going to break this stuff. Stun him with the Salt Ray, and hit him with the SLAs, and he's dead. Displacement scroll, and let's see if we can go ahead and just kite all this stuff together in a pile. Champion there. Let's go ahead and give him the Creeping Cold, greater Creeping Cold action in addition to our SLAs. Okay, and we'll see if we can finger that guy. Nope, he doesn't want to get fingered. He doesn't want to stun or anything. Oh, there he goes. He finally stuns. So both of those guys are blinded. They don't know what's going on. Can we energy burst them? Nope, they saved. Normally, I don't even do, like, try to step up the skulls in epic questing, because it's just, I found that, you know, it's just not really worth the time, the effort. Trying to do epic reapers is a lot tougher. And I'm talking about epic, not legendary, epic reapers, because the level differential that we have to do these at to get maximum reaper is, you know, twice as big as the difference as, you know, what we were used to doing in heroics. So for example, you know, you got to do quests at base normal level to get maximum reaper XP, right? Well, in heroics that meant, you know, 2 under elite streak level. So it's just a difference of 2 levels that you have to get used to in heroics. Well, in epics, we used to be able to do these at 4 over base normal level and still get full elite bravery bonus. So that means to get maximum reaper XP in epics, you got to do these quests 4 levels lower than what we were used to. Well, in epics, a difference of 4 levels is a very significant difference in terms of, like, the gear that you would have access to, for example, and feats and everything like that. So, you know, especially when I'm soloing, you know, it's just not worth it. So what I usually end up doing is just racing to 30 from 20, like in pretty much a day, by doing, you know, kind of the standard routine of, you know, you start off doing like the Infinite King's Forest Slayers, and then you do, you know, a handful of dailies like Spies, Von 3-4, Gibbers Run, Whiz King, Offering of Blood, those kinds of things. You know, by the time you do that, you're around probably level 22 or so, and then you max out your Orchard Slayers, you max out your Thunderholm Slayers. That's going to get you up to like, you know, 27 or so, and then, you know, and you want to have an XP pot and of course in a Slayer pot, and you can make those really quick. And then you can do even like some Ravenloft Slayers that can get you closer to 28 or even 29. And then once you're to 29, you got your Ravenloft gear, and you can start doing legendaries, and you can get from 20 to 29 remarkably quickly doing that. Alright, now that I'm fully healed, oh, let's eat our candies too from Night Rebels. Let's try fingering him. No, nobody wants to get fingered. Pull that lever while he's stunned. Stun him again. He's saving, there we go. I'm just trying to focus on my SLAs to save mana. Being patient, waiting for them to come off timer. A group of mobs, I think, spawning back there. Let's even throw the Obscuring Darkness. The whole shebang. Does this caster want to get fingered? Nope. What are we, 0 for 4 on the finger? So like I said, you know, if you were like a max DC kind of caster, you might be able to get away with using Finger of Death beyond heroics, but for me, since I'm not, Finger of Death is kind of a waste of time. It is a nice convenience thing in upper heroics in Reaper mode, but beyond that, I won't be really using it. Let's try again. Nope. So I gave him a regular, or a greater creeping cold, and I also hit him with the cold spray to make him take more cold damage. Supplement that with the SLAs, and he's dead. And let's go ahead and kill this guy. Freezing spray, creeping cold, greater creeping cold, and some SLAs, because we're going to want to come back and use this shrine without getting pew-pewed at. Renewal Cocoon on myself. It's slow, but it will eventually fill us back up. I'm going to try to clear to the end fight and then come back for that shrine. Pretty short quest. There are lots of optionals, but you know, I'm just going for a quick completion. I actually like to do this as part of my daily routine. Sometimes because it's a good token farm, you can knock this out on Epic Elite in just a few minutes, and this does on Epic Elite give you a full token. Let's go ahead and do Creeping Doom on those guys, why not? Cold Spray, Greater Creeping Cold, Cold Spray, Spray, Greater Creeping Cold. Renewal Cocoon, reapply the Spring's Resurgence. You want to be careful about using the wolf or summons in here because they can aggro all those mobs down there. It's really easy to get overwhelmed and aggro too many mobs in this quest. Famine Reaper. Once again, you know, I'm not trying to say you should come in here and solo it on R3. I knew this would be a little bit of a challenge, so I just want to kind of see how it would go. Here you want to aim for the lever with the signal crystal on it. If you struggle hitting ranged levers, some people do, you might find it helpful to target just above the lever as opposed to if you target, you know, the main part of the target. Sometimes you're not hitting it depending on your angle. I like to aim just above it, and I have pretty good luck hitting it. Cold Spray on him, and the Greater Creeping Cold on that nasty champion. You can try to finger him. Nope. 0 fingers in this quest. Threw a regular heal spell on myself. Just gonna hit him with the SLAs while he's tripping and falling and the little hurricane. Now I'm going to go back and use that shrine. I'll go ahead and use my bauble just in case I need some mana. Might be some baddies that snuck up on us. I'll hit both my boosts, take this guy out so he doesn't bother us while we're shrining. One more time on the finger, still a no-go. Hit him with the regular version of Word of Balance. I had the mana, so why not? I am planning on flagging for web this life because, like I said, I'm going to 30 and I want to be flagged for all the raids. So I'll probably do Caught in the Web flagging quest for the next few levels. 21, 22, and 23. And might even do the same ones that I did on Northwind just for comparison purposes. Hit a Vile Blasphemy for some spell point regen. So we're going to have the boss and, you know, maybe 4 or so other dudes to contend with here. Let's do Displacement Scroll. So I'm going to prioritize getting these other guys out. Alright, I can start. Let's see, Freezing Spray. Let's do both the boosts. Greater Creeping Cold. Let's do both of the Acid Dots too. Enveloping Swarm, Creeping Doom. More baddies around? Doesn't look like it. Oh, here comes one. Ooh, I gotta switch back into Water Ellie form to get that mantle applied. No go on the finger again. Let's see if we can do a little bit of experimenting with some spells that I talked about that I don't use very often. So let's do the ranged version of Fire Seeds. Okay, did a couple hundred per hit. It just throws 3 acorns at him. And okay, 60, 60, 114. Let's do Ice Flowers. Let's wait till he does a little charge there. Do you see that move? That's some Michael Jackson stuff there. Okay, so it looks like it's doing about 143 cold, 95 piercing, so not terribly exciting, in my opinion. We'll hit both the boosts, Creeping Cold, Greater Creeping Cold, Enveloping Swarm, Creeping Doom. Let's give him the SLAs, Ice Storm, Storm of Vengeance. He's not doing too much damage to me. I'm not really worried about that. It's just a little slow going on the beatdown. You can see I'm already starting to run out of mana, which is what I remember happening before when I tried this on R3 solo. It just ran out of mana and became kind of a long slog. Both the boosts and then the energy burst. Ready for a fresh round of Creeping Colds. And the Acid Dots as well. Have some SLAs. We can reapply the Freezing Spray so he takes more cold damage. I'm going to go ahead and keep this examination window up, but move it over out of the middle of the screen. So dumb that when you pull up the examination window, it's right in the middle of your frickin' screen. Like, I don't want it to cover up what I need to see. Why not throw a Displacement Scroll? And an Ice Storm. And a Storm of Vengeance. And now we gotta start dipping into the spell point clickies. And you see I still got another boss to fight. Because as soon as the general's dead, then the manager I gotta contend with. So kind of slow going, trying to solo this. He's getting some hits on me too. I believe the manager's not as bad of a beatdown though. So yeah, if I didn't have my Bauble and my Epic Ring of Spell Storing, then, you know, I'd be out of mana at this point, pretty much. So this guy's just a spellcaster. And it's a different mob, so I need to cancel that examination window out and bring this one up. Yeah, he's a lot easier to contend with than the other guy. I should pretty much do it for him. Woot. Like I said, you can knock this out really quickly on Epic Elite, and you can get a dungeon token out of that, and so it can be part of your daily routine for getting epic dungeon tokens, which you need for reincarnating, to buy your hearts, and also for you can buy augments with them. I actually do have a video where I show some of my favorite daily runs for token farming, so I'll put a link in the video description if you think you might be interested in that. Well, thanks for watching. If you have any questions about my build, you can respond to my build post in the Druid forum. And if you have any questions about my videos, you can respond on YouTube. Here's our dungeon token.